talk about this missing girl that was found dead in the singer David's car.
New leaked messages are exploding online, exposing David allegedly messaging underage girls, painting a disturbing picture of a predator hiding in plain sight. But the darkest twist isn't just those leaked chats. It's what police uncovered inside his car.
The story actually starts a week ago when you had LA police saying they found a body in an impounded Tesla that was registered to David. Right in the car was at a tow yard in Hollywood. You had the authorities not really initially saying who they believed the remains were. And David, he was reportedly on tour at the time that the body was found.
And it left even investigators shaken. Fans are freaking out, the streets are buzzing, and everyone's asking the same question. Is David about to spend the rest of his life behind bars? These so-called leaked receipts, screenshots, DMs, and chat logs have been spreading like wildfire across Discord servers, Twitter threads, and TikTok expose accounts. Former fans, watchdog pages, and even some of his old collaborators are calling him out, demanding answers, and wondering if this rising star was secretly targeting his most vulnerable supporters all along. But here's the thing. It didn't all just pop up out of nowhere. These messages started circulating right after cops made a stomach-turning discovery connected to David. According to NBC coverage being passed around on YouTube, LAPD officers stumbled on something straight out of a nightmare. A black Tesla registered to David had been abandoned in the Hollywood Hills and later towed. Staff at the impound lot said the stench was unbearable, and when police finally popped the doors open, what they found was horrific. Inside the vehicle was a bag stuffed in the front seat, holding the decomposed remains of a teenage girl. Within days, LAPD confirmed the identity, and that's when the internet went absolutely wild with theories, accusations, and outrage. The victim was identified as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, who had first gone missing from Riverside County back in April 2024, when she was only 13 years old. The chain of events that led to this discovery actually began just last week, when LA police announced they found a body stuffed inside that impounded Tesla registered to David, and yes, it was sitting right there at the tow yard. The heartbreaking twist came when Celeste's mother recognized the description and reached out to TMZ. She told investigators her daughter had a tattoo that matched what police described, and even more chilling, she said Celeste had once mentioned dating a boyfriend named David. That tattoo clue sent the internet into a frenzy because, as TMZ and other outlets highlighted, David himself had an almost identical tattoo on the same exact finger, except his was in black ink. Photos from last September clearly show it on his right-hand pointer finger, the same finger Celeste had inked. Talk about eerie. And then came a bombshell from a former teacher. Speaking on camera, he revealed that Celeste had once been in his middle school class, and that she confided in classmates about meeting an older guy online.
Found photos from last September where he has on his pointer finger of his right hand
the same finger as hers.
The same exact finger, the exact same tattoo. It's in
that older guy, none other than David himself. In the viral clip, you can even hear him pointing to the classroom poster behind him saying, "That's her in my classroom right there." He later clarified he was using her story to warn current students about online predators, but the damage was done, and people online are convinced David's name keeps popping up way too many times to be a coincidence. For many people watching this unfold, it was the confirmation of their darkest fears. Celeste hadn't just gone missing. She may have been lured, groomed, and trapped by someone far older and with way more power. The LAPD, though, played it cautious, releasing only the bare minimum. They said there were no official suspects, no cause of death confirmed, and not even a homicide ruling yet. But actions spoke louder than words. Cops executed a full-on search warrant at the Hollywood Hills mansion where David had been crashing, a spot rented by his manager, Josh Marshall of Interscope Records. And this wasn't some light search either.
That's her in my classroom in front of this poster right here.
Law enforcement broke out luminol testing, the same high-tech method made famous by CSI, spraying every surface to catch even the tiniest traces of blood that might have been cleaned up. According to TMZ producers, investigators scoured drains, garages, and floors, checking for signs of dismemberment, spraying luminol around the house, even inspecting pipes for traces of blood or tissue. The list of things they were hunting for was bone-chilling.
We're using luminol around the house. They were checking drains to see if there's any blood evidence or, blood or tissue, a very long list of things they were looking for in that house.
Police haven't confirmed what, if anything, they recovered, but that raid alone sent the internet into total meltdown. Think about it. The car was registered to David, the body was pulled out of his trunk, and now the house he was living in was being tested for blood evidence. So why wasn't he being named a suspect? With official sources refusing to speak, online detectives stepped in. Reddit threads exploded. TikTok sleuths started re-uploading his old music videos, pointing to creepy imagery, bloody shirts, disturbing visuals, and even track titles hinting at violence. One track in particular grabbed attention, his single Homicide, which eerily shot up to become his most streamed song after the discovery, with many fans now calling it a dark confession in plain sight. Then another bombshell dropped. A low-quality clip of a live stream showing David and Celeste together surfaced online. The footage was short, but it clearly showed Celeste chatting with fans, while David could be heard telling moderators not to let the stream stay up afterwards. People can't stop asking what exactly was said in those moments he was so desperate to erase. That video was the nail in the coffin for his career. Within days, major brands started dropping him like a hot potato. Hollister and Crocs both announced he was cut from their campaigns. Singer Kali Uchis went public saying she was pulling their collaboration. Concerts in Los Angeles and San Francisco, including his big performance at the legendary Greek Theater, were abruptly canceled. Even the Grammy Museum removed him from its event lineup. And it didn't stop there. Interscope Records reportedly hit pause on his deluxe album rollout, pulling back promo plans and cutting support fast. So in just 1 week, the narrative went from leaked DMs with underage girls to the horrifying discovery of a missing teen's remains in his Tesla, to a grieving mother pointing to a tattoo.
We've got video of them on a live stream where they're interacting with some of his fans. It's a short clip, but at one point, he does say to the moderators of the chat that we should make sure when this is done, don't leave it up.
A teacher exposing the social media link, and police tearing through his residence with luminol searching for blood. By this point, the internet wasn't just asking questions. It was flat out declaring David guilty. The fallout was only heating up because as the investigation deepened, the contradictions in reporting, the hidden details from those raids, and the big unanswered question, why David still hadn't been officially named a suspect, left everyone suspicious. The unraveling started here. The world had just learned that 15-year-old Celeste Rivas was found brutally dismembered inside a Tesla registered to David. Fans were horrified, brands were cutting ties, and police had quietly stormed the Hollywood Hills mansion he was staying in. But instead of clearing anything up, the days that followed only made the case darker, stranger, and way more chilling. Every new detail painted one of the most disturbing pictures imaginable. Yet still, LAPD refused to publicly label David as a suspect. People began demanding answers. What was really going on behind closed doors? In mid-September, investigators carried out a full search warrant at the Hollywood Hills property rented under David's manager, Josh Marshall, who's heavily tied to Interscope Records. And this wasn't some routine knock and check. According to TMZ producers speaking on Banfield, investigators brought out luminol, that chemical that lights up when it touches even a microscopic trace of blood. They sprayed walls, floors, drains, and scoured the garage top to bottom. True crime experts later pointed out that garages are often seen as the perfect place for dismemberment. And that detail alone had the internet spiraling. Cops weren't just snooping around, they were hunting for a murder scene. According to TMZ's law enforcement sources, detectives were laser-focused on the plumbing system. If Celeste had been dismembered inside that Hollywood Hills house, investigators believe tiny traces of blood, tissue, or even cleaning chemicals could still be hiding in the sinks, tubs, or drains.
Already seeing some fallout with brands like Hollister and Crocs saying that they're removing him from ad campaigns. Also, Kali Uchis said that she's going to be pulling her song with him as well, and he also canceled his concert last night and he's scheduled to perform in LA soon, so we're gonna have to see if any of that changed.
To the public, it sounded like detectives were on the brink of revealing a smoking gun. But then came the strange twist. Weeks later, police still hadn't said a word about what, if anything, they actually found inside the home. That silence opened the door for conspiracy theories to explode. Different outlets started spinning slightly different narratives, only making the story murkier. NBC, through YouTube coverage, stressed that LAPD hadn't even officially classified the case as a homicide and claimed there were no named persons of interest. Meanwhile, TMZ Live hammered away at the teacher's shocking story, the livestream clip, and the fact that search warrants don't get approved unless investigators already suspect foul play. On Banfield, TMZ producer Charles Latibaudiere dropped even more gruesome details. He revealed the Tesla had actually been left abandoned on the street for days while neighbors complained about the sickening stench of rotting flesh. And when officers finally popped the front hatch, what they found was nightmare fuel, a bag holding only a torso, a head, and partial limbs. That was the grisly reality investigators uncovered in David's car. The contradictions drove fans, true crime junkies, and even seasoned journalists into chaos as they scrambled to piece the story together.
It would make perfect sense if they were looking to see where that dismembering happened.
At the center of it all was the tattoo clue. Police confirmed the victim had a tattoo on her finger. Celeste's mother swore it was in red ink. But then TMZ dropped the bomb. David had the same tattoo in black ink on the exact same finger. To some, maybe that was just a strange coincidence. But to others, it looked like something way darker, an undeniable bond, maybe even a twisted mark of ownership tying the singer to the missing girl. Then came the... At the center of it all was the tattoo clue. Police confirmed the victim had a tattoo on her finger. Celeste's mother swore it was in red ink. But then TMZ dropped the bomb. David had the same tattoo in black ink on the exact same finger. To some, maybe that was just a strange coincidence. But to others, it looked like something way darker, an undeniable bond, maybe even a twisted mark of ownership tying the singer to the missing girl. Then came the live stream clip, the one that blew everything wide open. The footage showed Celeste appearing alongside David during a live broadcast to his fans. You can see her casually pointing out comments in the chat when suddenly David's voice cuts in, instructing his moderators. At one point, he flat out says, "When this is done, don't leave it up." That one command sent internet detectives into overdrive. Why was he so desperate to erase the evidence? What exactly happened on that stream that he didn't want preserved? Some argued the clip basically confirmed his secret relationship with Celeste, while others speculated fans in the comments were calling out the glaring age gap, forcing David to panic and demand it be deleted. And yet, despite the tattoo, the live stream, the raided house, and the Tesla registered in his name with a body inside, LAPD spokespeople kept repeating the same line: David was not officially a suspect. They wouldn't even confirm if there was a suspect. So what was really going on here? Was LAPD stalling with some hidden strategy? Or was something bigger at play? Industry connections? Reluctance to drag a rising star into a murder case without airtight proof? The intrigue only deepened once people started talking about the Tesla itself. Because Teslas aren't just cars, they're rolling surveillance machines.
That's when they opened that front hatch on the Tesla and found the bag with the body parts.
And they call that the frunk, if I'm not mistaken, in the front of the Tesla. It's like the trunk in the front, so to speak. But that's a really good point of forensic interest, that there was someone who noticed something that didn't smell right when the car was abandoned on that California street. So that would indicate that the body was in there probably prior to the impound lot.
Cameras, GPS trackers, data logs, these things record everything. On TMZ Live, experts speculated police could subpoena Tesla directly, unlocking video footage, exact GPS routes, even timestamps for when the trunk was opened. If that data existed, the case could be solved in seconds. So why hadn't it been released yet? That silence had fans convinced the truth was being buried. Meanwhile, the music industry went into full damage control. His songs were still streaming, but merchandise with bloody imagery quietly disappeared from stores. Labels pulled every bit of official promotion, and his scheduled Grammy Museum appearance got scrapped immediately. The message was clear. No one in the business wanted their brand tied to a potential predator. But even as his career collapsed, fans and critics dissected his catalog like crime scene evidence. Lyrics once hyped as dark poetry, now read like chilling confessions. His obsession with blood, homicide, and pain was no longer seen as edgy art. It was being reframed as possible proof. Was this foreshadowing hidden in plain sight, or just the internet projecting guilt onto an artist after tragedy? By this point, the headlines spoke for themselves. Leaked messages, a missing girl's body in his Tesla, shady live streams, police raids, and a flood of canceled shows and brand deals. But to really grasp the weight of this scandal, we have to step back and ask, who is David? Because this wasn't just some random up-and-comer. This was a Gen Z star whose rise was meteoric and whose fall might be historic. In less than 2 years, David had gone from recording songs in his sister's closet to performing on world stages. And now, in the same breath, his name was being linked with words like predator, murder, and scandal. Born David Anthony Burke in Queens, New York in 2005, he later moved to Houston, Texas. Like many Gen Z kids, his first taste of fame didn't come from record labels or arenas. It came from the internet. As a teen, David dove headfirst into the Fortnite world, not just as a player, but as a content creator, posting highlight reels to YouTube. At first, music was just background noise for his videos, but when copyright strikes kept taking his uploads down, he decided to create his own tracks. That simple pivot flipped his entire life upside down. With nothing but an iPhone and a janky setup inside his sister's closet, he started cranking out lo-fi songs and uploading them to SoundCloud. And by 2022, one of those tracks, Here With Me, blew up big time. The melancholic ballad, dripping with longing, became his breakout hit, cementing him as a voice for his generation. David's breakout single didn't just do well, it exploded on TikTok, popping up in millions of videos and racing up the charts. Soon after, he landed a deal with Interscope Records, the same powerhouse label behind icons from Eminem to Billie Eilish. And by 2023, his crossover moment hit.
Dude on social media, he was a rapper in LA. He came and got her, she ran away from home. She was gone for like a month. The cops found her in Hollywood, brought her back to our school. She came back to our school, kind of told people this story. She disappeared again in May of that year. And then I found out yesterday that she's now dead in that rapper's car, cut into pieces.
Producing an official Fortnite theme song, a move that locked in his status as the ultimate Gen Z artist, born from gaming culture, crowned by TikTok, and validated by the industry itself. Even if you didn't know his name, you probably heard his sound. He wasn't just rising, he was soaring. Unlike loud, brash rappers chasing clout, David's persona was built around quiet vulnerability. In interviews, he came off soft-spoken, almost painfully shy, which only added to his mysterious aura. His lyrics leaned into raw emotions: heartbreak, loneliness, the fear of being forgotten. Fans clung to him as a comfort artist, someone who seemed to bleed the same pain they felt. His aesthetic sealed the image: muted tones, gothic visuals, merch covered in bleeding hearts and ripped fabrics. He looked like the misunderstood poet of his generation. Teenagers in particular felt like he was speaking directly to them. But that same image, the one that made him magnetic, would soon look like a mask. Because in hindsight, the artistry fans adored now felt like foreshadowing. Lyrics about pain and blood no longer read like metaphor. They felt like chilling confessionals. Merch once hyped as edgy fashion, like bloody shirts, was suddenly yanked from shelves after Celeste's body was discovered. The darkness that once made him irresistible now made him terrifying. And just like that, all the goodwill collapsed in days. The moment LAPD confirmed Celeste Rivas's remains in his Tesla, the narrative flipped overnight. From rising star to headline-making scandal, the same press that once celebrated him as TikTok's breakout star was now screaming about rage, tattoos, and shady live streams. Brands were dropping him like dead weight. Hollister and Crocs cut ties. Singer Kali Uchis canceled their collab. The Grammy Museum yanked his scheduled appearance. And major concerts in Los Angeles and San Francisco were wiped off the calendar. For a 20-year-old once labeled the future of alternative pop, the collapse was nothing short of brutal. If the industry's exit was swift, the fans' heartbreak hit much slower and way more painfully. David's core audience was overwhelmingly young, mostly teenage girls who thought they saw themselves in him. They made TikTok edits with his music, wrote fan fiction, and filled concert venues with handmade posters. Now those same fans were flooding social media with grief and fury. He sang like he understood us, and turns out he was using us. I feel sick. He preyed on girls our age while we were giving him streams. This is grooming. Plain and simple. The betrayal was total for most. What once felt like intimacy, a parasocial closeness to a shy, soft-spoken star, had shattered into suspicion and disgust. Of course, some still defended him, pointing out he hadn't been officially named a suspect. But behind the scenes, executives were panicking. The industry had seen this playbook before. Decades of scandals tied to abuse and exploitation, from R. Kelly's reign of terror to allegations around Crystalia, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and others. And now, David was being dragged into the same toxic legacy. What rattled music executives most about the David case was its speed. He wasn't a superstar with decades of baggage. He was barely 2 years into his rise when the scandal exploded. No years of whispers, no slow burn of rumors. It hit right at the peak of his ascent, forcing the industry to face uncomfortable questions. How much do labels actually vet the artists they sign? How much do managers really know about who their talent is deeming late at night? And worse, how many other rising stars are ticking time bombs, their private lives waiting to implode in the public eye? For an industry already desperate to rebuild trust, the timing couldn't have been worse. But the firestorm didn't stop at music execs. It spread into culture itself. This wasn't just about one artist. It was about the structural vulnerability of teenage fans in the digital age. Celeste's story laid it bare. She was just 13 when she first met him online. According to her teacher, she even ran away to meet him in LA. Police brought her home once, but she vanished again only to end up dead inside his car. As one classmate recalled, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA, he came and got her. For parents, the case was a chilling reminder. Online fandoms are not safe havens. The same platforms giving kids music, friends, and community also open doors to predators. For fans, it was a harsh wake-up call. The parasocial closeness they feel with artists can blind them to danger. Discord chats, private fan servers, TikTok threads, every corner of the internet has turned into a courtroom, and the verdict of public opinion is already in. David's name is now chained to scandal forever. Think pieces label him the dark side of TikTok fame, Reddit forums have built exhaustive timelines, and TikTok detectives dissect his lyrics frame by frame like crime scene evidence. The irony couldn't be more brutal. The very internet that made him famous is now dismantling him, one thread, one video, one live stream at a time. So what's next for him? Honestly, the options are bleak. If Tesla's onboard data, the forensic sweep from that Hollywood Hills raid, or fresh testimony ends up tying him directly to Celeste's death, he could be staring down charges ranging from manslaughter to outright homicide. That would mean permanent blacklisting, career over, no questions asked. And even without formal charges, the scandal may have already destroyed his mainstream future. Labels won't touch him, brands won't risk it, venues won't book him. Some disgraced artists do crawl back into underground scenes leaning on a small cult fan base, but with allegations this heavy tied to underage victims, redemption is almost impossible. Sure, history shows some celebrities make comebacks after scandals, but crimes against minors? That's the line society rarely forgives. For now, the only certainty is uncertainty. Until LAPD reveals more evidence, until Tesla's data is released, until the cause of death is finalized, speculation rules the conversation. But beyond all the theories and gossip lies one chilling truth. A teenage girl is gone, and the question of what really happened inside David's world still hangs in the air. The story of Celeste Rivas is more than headlines. It's a tragedy. She was just 15 years old. A daughter, a student, a teenager who once made TikToks with her friends. A girl her teacher remembered for her smile. A girl whose mother still clings to the memory of that red tattoo. And now, she's reduced to a body in a bag pulled from the front of a Tesla registered to a pop star. Her story is the heartbreak, her death is the reason, and her loss is the true cost of this scandal. David's fame may flicker for a while on streaming platforms, but his legacy won't be measured in charts, streams, or sold-out shows anymore. It's measured in a grieving family's pain, in a fan base's betrayal, and in the haunting, unanswered question of what really happened to Celeste Rivas. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video, and I'll see you on the next one.